the BRRRR method, how to own houses using very little to none of your own money and build generational wealth with you and your family. I've been doing a series on every step of the BRRRR process: buying using other people's money, renovating using other people's money, renting the property out, and then refinancing and repeating the process time and time again. Today's video, this is the last one of the series, is how to refinance and repeat the process. After you buy the property and renovate the property all using other people's money, that increases the value of the property. Once the property's value has been increased, you can go and get a refinance on the property, meaning you can get a new mortgage from a bank on the property and then pay off your private money lenders. So again, you can own the house 100% yourself, and you have long-term bank financing in place that you're going to pay off from the tenant's income. So there's different lenders that you can refinance a property with. There's a DSCR lender and then small community banks, which are the two that I use. So a DSCR lender has way less underwriting and it's based on the cash flow of the property. So DSCR means debt service coverage ratio, meaning that you have more money coming in rent than what you have to pay to service your debt, which means your monthly mortgage payment. So typically what the terms are for these DSCR loans right now, today, June 17th or something, 2023, it's about a 7.5% to 8% interest rate, which is high, but it can still get the job done. And it's based on a 30-year amortization schedule, and it's a fixed payment for the next 30 years. The only problem is if you do this loan and pay it off, meaning you sell it or you refinance it again in the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you're gonna have a prepayment penalty. So you're gonna have to pay, 1, 2, 3, 4 points of the loan balance. So if it's a $200,000 loan, you gotta pay 3 points, you gotta pay a $6,000 penalty for paying it off early. So if you use these, plan to hold on to it for at least a few years and cash flow it until sometime in the future the rates change, then you can go back and you can refinance it. Also with this strategy, one of the things you're gonna have to think about is the seasoning period, meaning how long you have to own the property for before the bank will refinance it based on loan to value. So loan to value, loan to cost, two entirely different things. Loan to value means that they give you a loan based on the actual value of the property. So you buy it for 100, put 50 into it, it's worth 200 grand. They're gonna give you 75% of that value, meaning they're gonna give you back $150,000. What some people do is they give you 75% of cost. Same deal, you buy it for 100, you put 50 into it, you're all in for 150. Even though the property is worth 200 grand, they're only gonna give you 75% of your cost, of your 150, meaning they're gonna give you like $110,000, $115,000 back, which is way less than 75%. It's like a little less than 60% loan to value. Bad deal. You gotta get deals based on loan to cost, which most DSCR lenders do. All in all, DSCR is not a bad deal. I've done these deals before and will continue to do in the future if small local community banks don't work out for me. So the other lender are small local community banks. This is a really relationship based. It's great to build these relationships ahead of time. What this looks like, you get a property stabilized, you get it rented out, you go to a small community bank, you say, hey, I want to refinance this property. So they're going to fully underwrite you, meaning that you got to have 2 years of tax returns, you got to have a decent credit score, you got to have the right DTI, debt to income ratio. You get fully underwritten to make sure that the bank thinks that you can afford this property. Again, isn't bad. It just takes a lot more paperwork and a lot more time to get through it. But the difference is they can usually give you like a 20 or 25 year mortgage instead of a 30, and they'll give it right today. It's about 6.5% interest. So instead of paying 7.5 or 8% in interest, you're paying significantly less interest. But again, there's a full underwriting process. The other thing with small local community banks, the seasoning period that we just talked about, everyone's different. Some of them have a 3-month seasoning. Some of them have a 12-month seasoning. Some of them lend on loan to value. Some of them lend on loan to cost. So when you're talking with these local community banks, you're going to have to ask them, hey, what types of terms do you offer? What's your seasoning period? Are you offering 20 or 25 years? What's the going interest rate in today's market? These are questions that you have to ask to determine if you want to go through the small local community banks or the DSCR lenders. Both get the job done. I use both today, but I'm using the small local community banks if the deal still makes sense. If not, then I'm going to go to the DSCR because that'll still get the job done. So once you get this new loan on the deal, the bank's going to give you the loan, then you're going to take that loan and you're going to pay off your private money lender. So now you pay off everybody else on the deal and you retain 100% ownership of this deal. So now that you own it, remember, you get all the cash flow, you get all the appreciation, you get all the depreciation, you get all the tenant mortgage buy down. So you're now building wealth for you and your family, again, in a deal using very little to none of your own money. So here's a real life scenario. I bought a house for $80,000 and then the rental was $30,000. So I was all in for $110,000 and it rents for $1,300 a month. So the ARV, the after repaired value, value on that property was $150,000. I got a 75% refinance on that deal, meaning the bank gave me back $112,500. Remember, I was all in for $110, but you have to add closing costs and you have to add interest to your private money lender because they're not giving you money for free. So add another, let's say $10,000 to that. So now I'm all into this property for $120,000. The bank gives me back $112,500, meaning that I have to keep $7,500 of my money into this deal. So now I own a $150,000 asset to build wealth, and I only had to put up $7,500 of my money. So now my monthly expenses are gonna be about $900 a month. My principal, my interest, my taxes, my insurance, my property management, $900 a month. And it rents for $1,300, some of them even $1,400. So I'm having a $400 to a $500 margin on this deal. And yes, there's gonna be some vacancies and some repairs, but you're cash flow positive and you're building wealth. So again, using the BRRRR method, buy, renovate, rent, refinance with very little to none of your own money, why would you not repeat this process time and time and time again? That's the BRRRR method right there. We did a full series on each step of the BRRRR method. Make sure you check out the link in the description below to see the buy, to see the renovate, to see the rent, to see the refinance and the repeat process, because I've done this almost 100 times and built my portfolio to almost $20 million, all using very little to none of my own money.